So I'm Scott Munsie, well, Dr. Scott Munsie, SCOTTMUNSIE, principal, PAL, principal is your pal, at Middle Creek High School.
What inspired you to become an educator and eventually a principal?
Wow, start off with a good question. That really probably came to be sometime mid part of my college career. I started out in business. I wanted to do that as a major. Halfway through, just kind of changed my mind and really just said, I think I want to teach. And at first, I kind of was leaning towards maybe more of a social studies direction, and then I kind of shifted over to science and ended up getting a job. My first job at working for the principal at the time was my principal when I was in high school. So she was my high school principal, and then she ended up being my boss. Worked for her for a few years, and it was really, really good. It was a great experience, good opportunity. I did some changing of schools in that time, but I taught middle school science for about 8 years. After a while, it was one of those where I kind of wanted to take, the opportunity for leadership and education a little bit beyond just the walls of the school or the classroom. And so I decided to get my master's degree in administration, leadership administration. So I got that, and then I decided to take on the role of an assistant principal, move into administrative level. Just so happens, once again, I had the unique fortune to be hired on at the school where I was a high school student. So that was kind of unique, and the fact that some of my teachers that when I left, when I was a student at the school I was at, the high school, were still there as now me as an assistant principal. So that was kind of a unique thing. And then after a while, in the role, it was like, I think I'm ready to take on an opportunity for a leadership role as the principal of a school, and was blessed the opportunity to become a principal at a middle school in the county that I was currently at. And so I did that, and then after a while, opportunity came to take on a high school, and so I became principal of a high school, and in that same area, in that same district, and just lo and behold, it ended up being the rival school of the high school that I went to when I was a student and as an assistant principal. So kind of worked out that way. And then after a while, it was one of those, I'm at the kind of the tail end of my career. I'm, over 25 years in. So thought was, let's venture out. I've been in that county for a long time. Thought it would be a great opportunity to go to a different district and see kind of how things look from a different lens at a different district. And I was blessed to be able to be here at Middle Creek, and it's been a wonderful experience thus far. Great students. It's been great, interacting with students, interacting in their classes. That's why I'm always big about going in and out of classrooms. That's why you probably see me fly in and out of a classroom during the day, see what you guys are working on. Today I was in a class that was in the media center doing a project, and so I kind of stayed and participated in that project and worked with the kids. So that's what motivates me every single day in that aspect. Great culture, great tradition here. Staff is great. It's been an amazing experience thus far. So I've been very, very lucky, very blessed.
And what drew you to our school specifically?
I think it was. I think it comes back to kind of the tradition or the setting, and it had a familiar kind of tone with that in the aspect of the community and the sense of the community and the support for the school that I was associated with not only when I was a high school student at the school I was at, but also when I was an assistant principal at that high school. So it had that same familiarity, and I think that was one of the major draws for sure. Yeah.
How would you describe your leadership style in 3 words?
I would say it would be open, flexible, caring. I think all 3 of those are kind of important. I think, and even those 3 probably fall under the format that I feel like leaders should be, and that's servant leadership, and that's working for the students and working for the staff, and that's really my sole drive that I do in my leadership style. I believe in the opportunities for staff to, as professionals, to do what they can do and provide them support. I want them to understand that, and I've said it many times. Mr. Maldonado could probably attest to that I've told them immediately, when I got here, in your classroom, take risks in your classroom to benefit the students, because in the world that we're in, we are student-centered, student-driven first, and that's what we should do. And I said, so, take risks, even if they don't work in the way to give them a better opportunity to learn the material or understand what you're trying to get across to them. If it doesn't always work completely, at least it was better than not doing something at all. The other thing I always tell them too is, in our capacity, going back to that servant leadership mindset, is you are our customer. And the unique factor of it is not only are you our customer, you're also an end product by the time you graduate. And that end product is a learned student in preparation for either a career, post-secondary education, or the military. And we are here, or tasked to, in that servant role, to provide you with as much information as possible so that you can be better educated than you were before you came in, and you can be better prepared and trainable for the future. And that's kind of my sole focus. So, in encompassing that back in those 3 words, that's what really that means for my leadership style.
Where did you grow up, and how do you think that impacted your life and career choices?
I think, I would say we moved around a little bit when I was younger, just from my dad and his job. And so, like I said, I was born in Alabama, and then we moved up north in Kentucky, stayed in Kentucky for a little bit of time, then moved to Tennessee, stayed there about 9 years. Moved to North Carolina in 1988, and I've been in North Carolina ever since. So I think just probably from that capacity of the opportunities that I had in school and the schools that I was in were part of those things that shaped, knowing those subjects that I took, the teachers that I learned from, those kind of were some of those influential components to want to drive me to want to get into education. And that's, like I said, when I was talking about earlier, it was kind of in the middle of that, all the requirements that you had to have to get your, undergraduate in business. Kind of had a concentration where I wanted to go and direction I wanted to go with it. But I kind of, did a reflection and said, that's not really, I think I want to go in a different direction. And education was the one that just kept coming back to me, because I kept contemplating what is it that I want to do that's meaningful, that I'm spending all this time on and really working towards. I want it to be something that I feel passionate about, and business wasn't it at the time. So I said, let's move into education. And knowing, as I said before, those backgrounds of experiences that I had before were impactful. And I think that really lent itself to that. And I thought about, an example that always first comes to mind was, when I was younger in grade school, and it was always just that, struggle with math or things like that. And I had a math teacher, never forget, Mr. Shaw. I haven't lost contact with him long ago, but he was amazing. And he made learning fun. And that was kind of that catalyst that kind of propelled me into really wanting to go headfirst into understanding education and being a teacher. So,
what are your top priorities for this school year?
I think I want us to continue to make sure that we're reaching all of the various diverse subgroups that make up the student body here at Middle Creek, and be able to ensure that every student has the best opportunity to get a successful learning experience while they're here, and to be able to have an opportunity to feel like the school supported them and made it better for them. So those are one of the things that we're wanting to continue here to make that happen. And that's one of the driving forces that we're going to continue to push as we move into the next school year. We're already in that mindset right now, believe it or not. Even though it's coming to a close of February, we're right into that mindset of prepping for next year, getting ready.
What changes or improvements can students expect to happen?
I think just that continued focus of we're really wanting to push, making sure that we're all visible and that teacher visibility, seeing the presence of folks in the hallways, increasing that opportunity where you see that presence of us in and out of the classrooms. That's the one big push that we want to continue to maintain. Yeah.
How do you plan to support both students' academic well-being as well as personal well-being?
Well, I think we have a lot of clubs and organizations, just beyond like the normal extracurricular that we always associate with, like a sports team or a band or course or things like that. And I think that's the one focus that I know as I've talked to you guys, starting with the beginning of the year when we met with our class meetings. I've talked to the parents of students that are coming in, as well as those students that did come in, like for instance curriculum night a few weeks ago. And I told them that your responsibility as a student is make Middle Creek work for you. And the way to make Middle Creek work for you is to get involved. And that's where this school shines, because it has the opportunity with so many different clubs and organizations or athletics or whatever to get involved, be involved in the school and make that imprint of what you are on Middle Creek and let Middle Creek make that imprint on you. The only way to do that is that connection with your peers, with staff members.
What message do you want students to hear from you?
I think the biggest thing for them is understanding that life is difficult. Sometimes things are going to be tough. Assignments are going to be tough. That you feel like they're piling up and you can't find enough time in the day to complete. Or there's a lot of things coming at you at one point in time at all different areas, different angles, right? And the one thing is to don't give up. Find something that you feel like you have strong feelings about, or a pursuit of something you want to reach. Make that goal that you want to accomplish attainable. Look for all the resources available to do that. Ask questions when you need to ask questions. Don't hesitate to do so. And don't just give in or give up when times are tough, when things are hard. It's so easy to just fall back in and get in kind of like a shell. That doesn't help. As you move into your high school career, there's a reason why I always said it. I said it to any audience that I'm in front of, and I always tell them. And this came from a colleague of mine. I don't even know if he can remember it or not. When he and I worked together long ago, is the math formula I told you guys: 4 = 70. The 4 years you're here are going to shape the next 70 of your life. So this is not only just the educational sphere of work that we're doing, but it's also kind of that preparation for what's going to happen for you when you move out of high school. And in that, you're learning that as well as you're learning what you're hearing or seeing in books and lectures from teachers or group work or whatever. So as you prepare and meet demands that are put upon you or thrust upon you, or the tough things that you're going to face, don't give up on getting to the end goal or seeing it through to the end, to the finish line. Make sure that you do whatever you can to get there. And it means we are resources. We are here, as I go back to what I said before about servant opportunity, we're here to help you support. We're that resource. So utilize the folks that you have to get you to that finish line, and don't give up at all.
How can students share their ideas or concerns with you?
You can always just see if I'm available, stop in, write a note, leave it at the front desk, send me an email. We communicated via email to set up this interview and an opportunity. So anything like that, my door is always open. I want everyone to know there's a reason why it's kind of a literal and figurative thing. It means I want to be available and be here to support students. So I make time, or can try to make time to make that happen. So just know that, just reach out. All you got to do, and if it's a question I can't ask or answer that you're trying to ask, then I will try to find the answer as best I possibly can. Yeah.
What's one fun fact about you that students might not know?
Let's see. I'm a huge sports fan, I guess. I love University of Alabama. I'm a big Alabama fan. I'm also, as I was talking with one of the ladies in student services, I love Harry Potter. believe it or not. Some people are like, okay, he likes Harry Potter, but I just do. It's really cool. So like I'm into, in fact, we were just discussing, I'm into as I'm going to and from work every day, I always kind of listen to a bunch of different books on audio. And so when I don't get a chance to read them, because sometimes I'm too busy to sit and spend a few hours reading, so I'll listen to them. And the newest one, as I'm on that, listen to the full cast. I just finished the first book, Sorcerer's Stone, the full cast edition, which is really cool because it's like you're like listening to the movie, but the book's being read. So it's really, really good. So. Oh yeah, good. Yes, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, and it's amazing. And so actually I just finished this past weekend, I watched on Amazon, they had they showed how they made it at the Audible Studios. So it was really, really cool how that worked. So yeah, so those are a couple fun facts, I guess you could say about me. So.
What is your favorite color?
I'd say I probably lean more towards blue. If you probably looked at my closet, I probably have a lot of blue stuff or green, I guess. I don't know. But I used to be, believe it or not, I used to be a redhead. So green and that bluish, I guess they always say that kind of goes with the redheads. So you get told that, don't you? Yeah. So yeah. So when you're a ginger, you kind of have those limited. Everything has to be a little bit darker in tone because if you have the lighter skin, the pastels don't work too well. So I would say that's probably it.
What is your favorite food?
Oh, probably cheeseburgers. I love cheeseburgers. Just had a good cheeseburger last night. But I like cheeseburgers. I do like chocolate chip cookies. I'd say if there's really a number one food, it's probably chocolate chip cookies. It's so bad for you, but they're wonderful. They're tasty.
We've learned a lot today, and I know that I can speak for us all when I say we are excited to see what the rest of the school year brings us. Once again, I'm Emily Pirhalla, and this was Mustang News.